Meet Tejaswi Karnwal, a rising name in the field of sports and exercise psychology who brings both academic expertise and personal athletic experience to his role. Hailing from Najibabad in western Uttar Pradesh, Tejaswi holds a master's degree from the prestigious Sri Ramchandra Center for Sports Science in Chennai. Currently, he serves as the sports psychologist for the Indian trap shooting team, working closely with Olympic bound athletes and contributing at ISSF competitions. A former footballer whose playing career ended due to ACL injuries, Tejaswi transformed adversity into purpose by shifting his focus to athlete mental health and performance enhancement. In this conversation, he explores the evolving role of sports psychologists in India, their impact on training and competition, and how mental resilience is key to sporting success.
Sports psychologist basically is a professional who takes care of athletes' mental well-being and also takes care of how an athlete is going to prepare for the competition and as well as training. So our role comes into place when we have to prepare for them for the training as well as for the competition. So our competition or any sport person for that matter, you have to make sure that he is aware about what he wants. In that way, sports psychologists play a very important role in guiding them and tailoring their needs of how they will perform at their best when it matters the most. When a matter of crucial moment happens, it's all about the mind. It's however you train, how hard you train, how long you train. All matters is your mental resilience. If you're not training your mind, you can never achieve at that moment when it matters the most. You have to go to a psychologist for this reason. That doesn't mean you have some weakness. That doesn't mean you are mentally not tough to compete. It's just you have to refine yourself. You have to refine your skills so that you are able to achieve what other athletes are able to achieve. All the athletes, because I believe in India, all the players are very tough mentally. Because I think in India, still the coaching works around you're not able to do it, you can't do it. So when you say a word that you can't do it, so athletes will not be able to motivate themselves.
How would you describe the role of a sports psychologist?
Sports psychologist is one of the major, I would say, sports science specialist. One of the sports science specialists, which includes a team of physiotherapists. Then we have strength and conditioning coach. We have high performance manager. Then we have a sensei coach. So just like that, we have a person named sports psychologist. So a sports psychologist basically is a professional who takes care of athletes' mental well-being and also takes care of how an athlete is going to prepare for the competition and as well as training.
In India's coach-driven sports environment, where does a sports psychologist fit in, and how important is their role in an athlete's development?
So now what happens is, since in India it's a very coach-driven environment, and in sports industry it's more of coach-driven. Coach is leading right from the front. So it also plays a vital role for the coaches to tell them it's not only about how you prepare physically, technically or tactically. It's also important how you prepare mentally. Because if you see like in movies also, if you see, or if any sports in India like cricket, if you see, so there's always a coach and an athlete who always comes in the picture. But when you look at the background team, it's always a mental trainer, always a mental conditioning coach, or even a sensei coach who plays a very important part of it. So our role comes into place when we have to prepare for them for the training as well as for the competition. So our competition is a picture where they have to actually perform. But when they have to be there and perform at their ultimate best, they're not able to do it. So coach tells them you have to have a mental preparation, or you have to seek a sports psychologist, or you have to take session from a mental conditioning coach. That's where our role comes into place, where we have to guide them and we have to make them aware of what they want and what they are expecting out of them, or their what their goals are. So in that way, our role comes into place, where we tell them that this is what your goal is and how your goal will be achieved in this time or in this way. So that is where our roles and our importance comes into place, where we have to work with the coaches, we have to work with the players, and as well as we have to work during the training, not during the competition, during the training, that this is what we have to plan on, and we have a game plan, we have set of strategies, we have set of skills that we have to implement so that they're able to execute in the training sessions.
What role does a sports psychologist play in individual versus team sports?
So, since there are many types of sports, individual sport, team sport, combat sport, but ultimately it's the athlete who has to perform. So, be it cricket, when you talk about team sports, be it cricket, football, it's end of the day, if a player is batting, so he has to play, he has to perform his duties, he has to play his role. But end of the day, it's all about that individual, whether he is playing shooting, or whether he is part of kabaddi team, or whether he is playing any other sport. So in that way also, we have to focus on his motivation, we have to focus on his self-awareness. So I normally work around more on self-awareness, because until unless he is aware about what he is feeling and what he is like trying to do, what he is trying to achieve, what is the motivation behind it, and for what reasons he is doing. So he'll not be able to fulfill that, his desires. I would say goals, not desires. He will not be able to achieve that goal. So it's very important when you work with any individual, or any sport person for that matter, you have to make sure that he is aware about what he wants. He is aware about how that his mental strength will help him to achieve what his goals are, and how he'll be able to go at, I would say, at another level. So I think in that way, sports psychologists play a very important role in guiding them and tailoring their needs of how they will perform at their best when it matters the most.
How does a sports psychologist help train an athlete's or team's mind, and how crucial is their contribution?
So, as in we have seen in the sporting world, there's a lot of advancement in technologies, a lot of advancement in terms of, I would say, performance analysis, in terms of tactical analysis. But what we lack is that when we go back to our medieval age, also, it's all that we talk about is mind. And now also, when a matter of crucial moment happens, it's all about the mind. It's however you train, how hard you train, how long you train. All matters is your mental resilience. If you're not training your mind, you can never achieve at that moment when it matters the most. So what happens is, when you are at a critical moment, you will, your body gives up. Your body tries to go into a state where it's not responding to you. So in that situation, the only person or only thing that can help you is how well you have trained your mind. So be it any competitor, be it from Michael Phelps to Usain Bolt, be it from Sachin Tendulkar to Virat Kohli, all of them had worked on their mind. And I would say the later example is, I think, the Gukesh, who became the world champion. So he also openly spoke about how he worked on his mental resilience, how he worked on his sleep patterns, how he worked on his feelings, on his thought process. So that's how you train your mind. But it doesn't take one day, it does not take a week. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of months to work on it. But it's just again coming to the basic, that if an athlete wants to improve his game, he has to start mental training right from day one till the last day of the year. So that it takes a whole process, and when he's in the critical zone, he's able to overcome all the stress and be there when it matters the most.
Do you believe Indian athletes lack the level of mental training needed to win medals at the Olympics and other top international events?
So, for Indian context, I think the culture plays a very vital role, and I think there's a lot of stigma behind it. People don't want to reach out to a sports psychologist or reach out to a mental trainer, because there's a lot of stigma behind it. No, I'm already mentally tough. I'm already there, so I don't have to train. I don't have to be there. But when nothing is working out, and end of the day or end of the last thing before a competition, they'll run to a sports psychologist, help me out, or take me out of this, and please bring me out of this. So what happens is the psychoeducation part becomes important. Psychoeducation where you are telling the athlete, not only me, not only as a psychologist, also a coach, telling a athlete that no, you have to go to a psychologist for this reason. That doesn't mean you have some weakness. That doesn't mean you are mentally not tough to compete. It's just you have to refine yourself, you have to refine your skills so that you are able to achieve what other athletes are able to achieve. Because in when we talk about European countries, they already start these things when they're young. In India, they start this thing when they've been given some sponsorship or they are providing with them with free of support. So what happens is they're not able to utilize it. They'll do it because they have to do it. So I think when we bring about a change in educating them before, like why this is needed, so I think it will be a very big impact for all the athletes, because I believe in India all the players are very tough mentally. It's just they have they have kind of inhibition that no, maybe they'll judge me, or maybe they'll point out you're not able to do this. Because I think in India still the coaching works around you're not able to do it, you can't do it. So when you say a word that you can't do it, so athletes will not be able to motivate themselves. So I think going back to the basic where we educate together, when a coach, physiotherapist, psychologist combine and educate together, then I think athletes will be able to open up and be aware and then maybe work on this.
Do you think people often confuse psychologists with psychiatrists?
Yeah, so there are a lot of athletes who, when they have nowhere to go, they end up going to a psychiatrist. And I'm happy that you stick to psychiatrist. There are people who go to neurologist also, but there's a huge difference. So, and when we talk about psychiatrist, he's an MBBS doctor and he's an MD graduate, but he is not a mental trainer. He will give you medicine. He will take care of your, I would say, like big order disorders like anxiety disorders. So that is some clinical area we are going into. But sports psychologist does not work as a clinician. We are more on field. We are on practical oriented work and just performance based work.
Ji.
So, and we are not doctors. We are basically, we have a master's degree. We do a doctorate degree, but we are not prescribed to give medicines. We don't prescribe medicines. So there's a basic difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist. Yeah, but there are other I think America and Canada, they have opened a new foundations and new associations where sports psychiatrists are coming up. But in India, we are still a long way behind into that process. But sports psychiatrists are coming up, but their roles are very different. We are yet to learn about it, but sports psychologists and a psychiatrist are completely different.
Is there any professional organization or association for sports psychologists in India?
My idea is we should have a licensing. We should have registration so that we are registered sports psychologists.
Okay.
Right now, anybody can call themselves a psychologist and start working as sports psychologist. So we have to stop that, but we have to start somewhere. So I think having an organization that focus on having a registered sports psychologist, licensed sports psychologist, so it will help us, because in Canada there is a certification, CMPC, certified mental practitioner certification. So until unless you don't have that, you cannot practice in Canada. And if you do, you will be jailed for some period of time. So I think that kind of restrictions we need to get in so that we have a proper flow of sports psychology and good movement taking forward.
How can parents and athletes reach out to a qualified sports psychologist?
So, sir, basically there are a lot of mediums. So when we approach academy, so there are a lot of psychologists in India, sports psychologists, who try to cater a lot of academies on the grassroots level. Because until unless we don't focus on them, we will not be able to educate how important is sports psychology. So there are a lot of mediums like LinkedIn, and then we have a lot of coaches that are in contact with us, and then there are a lot of officials like sports science officials who are in contact with us. So we all need to work together. We all need to be there so that we are able to promote each other and guide in the proper way, because there are a lot of physiotherapists also who work as a sports psychologist. There are a lot of sports psychologists also who try to work as a psychologist, as a physiotherapist. But here, we are guiding in a very wrong. We are going in a very wrong way for future sports science in India. So I think when we try to educate each other, when we try to give a proper guidance to parents, or try to give a proper instruction to parents that you have to go to him. I know him as a person. I know him, or a proper word of mouth will be a very good start where you can cater the required people, the required academies, and and the proper sports psychologists will be there. So I think we have to start from there.